Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing The Paris Apartment, written by Lucy Foley. This book is in GOODREADS top 12 mystery/suspense novels for the first 6 months of 2022. That's based on different things like user comments, user likes, user reactions, a whole jumble of things GOODREADS using to rate these books for the top 12 list. What did I think of this? Well, I didn't rate it a great mystery. The mystery of this book is, how can somebody solve a mystery by not doing anything? Because the main character really does nothing to solve the mystery. So I'm kind of wondering really how GOODREADS build this list. What's the formula they're using? Or is it just a marketing campaign? I'm not sure at this stage, because of the books I've read from this top 12 list so far, really not much to speak of from the ones I've read. Let's talk more about this book now. The first chapter of this book tries to drag you in with a hook. It's not a bad hook. It's a bit cliche, but it's okay. So we've got Jess, who's travelling to her brother's apartment. Brother's called Ben. Ben's in his apartment waiting for Jess to arrive. She's late. And he's leaving a message for her. Basically, the code for the gate is this. I'll be here. Let me know when you're arriving. That sort of thing. In the middle of his message, somebody arrives out of the blue at his apartment, enters, and the message cuts off. So it's an okay hook. It's designed to be suspicious, like suspenseful, and to drag us in. What's happened to Ben? Something's happened to him in the first chapter. What is it? Then we switch to Jess arriving. So Jess arrives. She's trying to contact her brother. Her brother's not answering. She's trying to get into the apartment, doesn't know the code, and so she's trying to find a way to get in. Can she sneak in behind somebody? Can somebody help her? That's the first little part of our introduction to Jess. As he's trying to get in, an aggressive man walks through the gate, frightens her, but she sees the code, so she uses that and gets in. Then she has to get into the building, and she manages to do that, and then she manages to get inside Ben's apartment. But Ben's not there, so immediately she's wondering, where's he gone? And Ben's got a cat as well, so the cat's just wandering around the apartment, but Ben's not there. So she's a bit worried, but she just thinks maybe he's gone off somewhere on a jaunt. Because he's a journalist, maybe he's gone off on a story somewhere. Maybe he'll be back tomorrow or the next day. So she just decides to wait overnight and see what happens the next day. Doesn't arrive still by the next day, so her anxiety ramps up a bit. And she starts to question the other people in the building, in the other apartments. Do they know Ben? Do they know where he went? Nobody seems to know where he's gone, but they all seem to act a little bit cagey. There's something about them she doesn't trust in all of them. So she's wondering if they do know more than what they're telling her. She's got a sense some of them do. So that's trying to amp up the suspense and the anxiety for this character and for the reader as well. What I did like about this book, one element that I liked, is that we get different POVs from different characters. And sometimes when Jess is going and meeting people for the first time or talking to them later on, that comes across from the other character's point of view, not from Jess's. And so we get what the other character thinks of Jess, not what Jess thinks of them. That was quite interesting way of doing that. Giving us Jess through other people's eyes at those moments, and whether Jess is anxious or whether she's acting strangely through those characters' eyes. I thought that was clever and it was quite unique. I don't think many books do something like that, but for the mystery element, it just wasn't there. There wasn't enough of it. I didn't really see Jess trying to solve the mystery in this book. She was just bumbling along, going to different apartments, talking to different people, sometimes going out, getting some food. But there was just no effort by the character to solve the mystery of where her brother's gone. And I didn't get why she was staying at the apartment, because there are a few things in this book that happen that are quite creepy. If I was in an apartment like this and someone I knew had vanished, and these things happened to me, I wouldn't be staying there. I'd be getting out of that apartment, maybe stay in the country still, to try to find out what happened to your brother or your friend, whatever. but not in the place where he disappeared from, especially if these creepy things started happening. And I won't give away what those creepy things are, because you can read the book and find out, but I think you'll agree, if these things happen to you, you wouldn't stay in that apartment. So that seemed very odd to me. And because of that reason, the thriller element was also ruined, because if you've got a character who's meant to be fearful, being in danger, you don't leave that character in that apartment, in that situation, because it just makes it feel like this character doesn't feel in danger, doesn't feel like they're in trouble. And that ruined the whole thriller element of this story. The twists, well, some are good, not all surprising, some are a bit telegraphed, but because there's no thriller element and the mystery part wasn't that good, it ruins the twists a bit, because they just seem to happen out of the blue. There's no lead up to them, the character's driving. That's what it felt like for me in this book. It felt like the book was a bit clumsily written and clumsily plotted. And the author, I think, wasn't able to develop a thriller element in the book and wasn't clever enough to make that mystery element come through. You got a character in a pretty good setting for a mystery, a missing person from an apartment, and there's certain things she finds in the apartment that are quite mysterious and a bit sus, and are meant to be there to amp up this anxiety and suspense. But if your character is not trying to solve the mystery then, and your character really doesn't show any fear for their safety, you've ruined everything you're trying to build up in the book. The last thing I'll mention in this story is about the cat. Through the whole book, Jess doesn't feed or give food to the cat once. Now, I found that a bit strange. If you're so worried about your brother, if you're trying to make us believe the character is so worried about the brother, then you think you'd show the character giving food or water to the cat at least once in the book. It's like the cat was there and just forgotten and just kind of thrown in as background furniture every now and then. Make better use of your surroundings and remember everything that's in your surroundings if you're going to present things in the book that are alive. Most of the characters in this book are over the top and paranoid. I think it's the author's clumsy attempt to amp up suspense and tension in the book. But let's have a look at one passage, because it just seemed quite strange. I watched as Nick's friend plucked a sprig of rosemary from one of the bushes, tearing hard to wrench it free. How he crushed it to his nose, inhaled. There was something presumptuous about the gesture. It felt like an act of vandalism. That was just a really strange way to show somebody plucking a sprig of rosemary and smelling it. Jess, our main character, I didn't really buy into the character's motivation to not alert the authorities about her brother's disappearance. You think you would. Doesn't matter what's in your own past. If your brother's missing in mysterious circumstances and you're worried about their safety, you would alert the authorities as many times as you felt necessary. That felt really strange to me. I didn't buy the fact that she was worried at all, just for the fact that she wasn't investigating the mystery. She wasn't doing anything, it felt like. And I didn't buy the fact that she was worried about her own safety, because she was staying at that apartment when creepy things happened that would scare any normal person. So much about this character didn't feel right. I didn't believe anything about the character, really. And the character didn't feel fully formed. There was almost one-dimensional in some parts. Never a fully well-rounded character. Sophie, I did like Sophie. She was an okay character in the book, probably one of the best. I like the fact that she's got this history, and that history really motivates her actions in the present storyline. She felt very well-rounded, well-formed, a lot of light and shade in her, and you really believed her motivations for what she was doing. She's very fearful for her position in life as well, and you get the sense that this character could really exist. So, a good character in my opinion, the best in the book I think, probably one of the characters that really stood out as a bit lifelike. Nick is a character where I think more things could have been put into the book to make him more mysterious. You've got that opportunity to do that with these characters, because the author's trying to do that anyway. There's not enough in there to make us question him very much. He's slightly mysterious, but not enough. and he just seems a bit odd in some of the things he does in the book. Doesn't seem that consistent. And his history is okay, but it's not fully believable because his motivations in the present day don't match that history that much. So another character that doesn't feel complete. The Paris Apartment isn't really a great book. The story's okay though, it keeps you entertained. So for that, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. It's definitely not a fantastic read. As a thriller, it fails. As a mystery, it mostly fails. It's entertaining, and it does keep you focused despite all that. So that's a plus on its side. I don't know if I'd read another book by Lucy Foley in a hurry. Maybe one more book just to see if another one could be better. There are some reviews on GOODREADS suggesting that she has better books out there, so maybe I'll give another book a go. I do review a lot of mystery novels on my channel. If you don't want to miss out on those books, check out my channel and subscribe. There's also a mystery playlist. Should be on your screen now.